You have to understand, you don't pay your bill today because of what I did. And then I hear that they like Obama better. They should like Obama better. You know why? Because he didn't ask for anything. We were like the stupid country of the world, and we're not going to be the stupid country of the world any longer. We're not going to be. Got bad under this guy. So he now wants to send them $50, $60 billion. I have to say one thing. I think the greatest salesman ever in history is Zelensky. And I like Zelensky because during the hoax of, the impeachment hoax, they said I made a threatening phone call to him. And when they asked him, he said, no, it wasn't threatening. It was a very nice call. He could have played to the bandwagon. He didn't do that. He told the truth. So I like Zelensky. But that war's got to end. We can make a deal on that war. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to get that war ended. That war is a disaster. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are being killed, far more than you're reading about. And you notice you don't hear about that war anymore. You know why? Because they're not doing well, that's why. Because the fake news is totally bought in, and now they're saying this is not working out. No, we got to get that war settled, and I'll get it settled. It would have never happened with Putin. It would have never happened. And by the way, it didn't happen for 4 years. It didn't happen. We'll get it settled. But we're fighting for the people of our country. We're going to stop that war. We're going to stop other wars that are happening. When you think of what took place in Israel just a short while ago, it would have never happened. Even the Democrats were on television the other day, Deface the Nation. Did you ever watch the show Deface? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Donald Trump on Deface the Nation. No, I think it was Deface the Nation. They're all sort of the same, all very radical and crazy. But they were saying that, now, one thing I will admit, if Trump were president, you wouldn't have had Israel attacked, you wouldn't have had Ukraine attacked, and you wouldn't have had inflation. Other than that, but we're going to drain the swamp. We started off, we fired Comey, that fraud. We got rid of that guy and got rid of a lot of others. And then we had COVID came in, and we had the greatest economy in history. Even for 4 years, the greatest economy, but just prior to COVID, we had to fix that. Nobody knew what it was. I get great credit for economy. I get great credit for the military, great credit for foreign policy. Viktor Orban, did you ever hear of him? Prime Minister of Hungary, great guy. He was interviewed recently, and they said, what's going on? The whole world is blowing up. He said, I have a simple solution. Let the United States of America elect quickly Donald Trump. It will all end very fast. You're not going to have any more problems. He said, you're not going to have any problems. He's one of the toughest guys, a smart guy, great guy, loves his country. But he said, and I don't use this term, but he used this term, China was afraid of Donald Trump. Russia was afraid. Remember when I stopped their pipeline, Nord Stream 2, I stopped it. I said, it's over. We're not going to do it. You're not going to have a pipeline going all through Europe. And I stopped it. And it was done. And Biden came in, he approved it, like so crazy. We were going to be selling, because we were going to drill, baby, drill, and we were going to be selling oil and natural gas and everything else to Europe and all over the world. But these foolish people, these stupid, stupid people, what they've allowed to happen to our country. And the reason that we're all doing so well, and you're respected too. By the way, Make America, MAGA is very respected now. You see Jamie Dimon, the head of one of the great banks, one of the big banks, the other day he said, well, no, we have to respect MAGA. We have to respect. You better believe they have to respect MAGA. And MAGA, I think, is 90% of the Republican. They like to say, well, Trump has a solid 35% of. No. It's not 35. We have 90, 95. He's lifting off. That's a front row Joe. Stand up, Joe. Front row Joes. Look at these people. Whoa. Whoa. They might even have your record, North Carolina, okay? All these North Carolina women. But they come to a lot of events, and they're rich people, I think, right? You have plenty of cash. They got a lot of cash. They got to have a lot of cash. They follow me all over the place. Thank you. Thank you. No, they're great people, actually. But as president, I ended the NAFTA disaster, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with a brand new USMCA. That's Mexico and Canada, who are ripping us off. I know they're our neighbors, but they were ripping us off. The best trade deal, they say, ever made in our country. I know it's good because they want to renegotiate the deal. And for years, we suffered with NAFTA. And everyone said, you'll never be able, you know how to get it knocked out in Congress, that one. That couldn't be executive order. And amazing, but it was a giant win for South Carolina and farmers, manufacturers. It was a tremendous win for Iowa. It was a tremendous win for Wisconsin, but it was a great win for you. I took on communist China like no administration in history, bringing in hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions, and I would say my relationship got to be a little bit sour. There are a lot of people think that COVID came because of that. They said, how do we get this guy out? Now what they're trying to do is use the Justice Department, the local DAs, and the Attorney Generals. But nothing's going to work. Look, we're doing a great job. We're doing a great job. If we do a great job and we have the people on our side, nothing they can do can hurt us. We're doing something that's never been done before. We're straightening out a mess. Then I gave, out of China, I gave our farmers $28 billion right out of those tariffs that China was paying, right out of the tariffs from China. Manufacturers, too. Remember, the night I won the Iowa caucuses, the Chinese stock market took a tremendous nosedive. Some people would say a little bit of a mini crash. I won Iowa by the record that we talked about. And the market dropped. Then the next week I won New Hampshire. The market went way down. The China market, what does that tell you? That tells you that you don't have to say anything. And I'm not looking to hurt them, but they have to treat us fairly. We're not looking to hurt China. We'll have a good relationship with China, I hope. But they respected us. They didn't want those tariffs. You know, for the first year, they pretended like the tariffs didn't bother them. I made it 25%, then I made it 35%. And they kept saying, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't care about the tariffs. We're China. I said, I can't believe it. They don't care. It's a lot of money, but that's okay. Then I made it 45. Then I got a call from the top man, President Xi, who you have to respect for strong. Can you imagine him dealing with Biden? Biden walks in, he falls asleep. They said, get this guy out of here. He won't know. He won't know where he was. But I got a call from the top guy. He said, please stop the tariffs. You're killing us. I said, okay. But they're great negotiators. I mean, they are great much better than the people we have negotiating. We have these guys go over there begging. They're like beggars. But they knew that Crooked Joe and Nikki Haley are very good for China. They're China people. They're into China. Donald J. Trump is good for the United States of America. That's what I'm good for. By the way, did you see the picture? And we have, I have hardly used this crazy teleprompter today. It's terrible. We have enough time for this, right? Yes? Do we have enough time? Should we give you, David, should we give you Club for Growth? Club for Growth. David, stand up, please. He's now with us 100%. He's with us 100%. Thank you. Thank you. Good to have you, man. Now, did they show you the picture of Mitt Romney? He's like kryptonite. If you touch Mitt Romney, you go down. I had a certain senator, I won't say which one, I endorsed him. He took a 44-point lead, and then Mitt Romney got involved with him, and he started saying, here's the endorsement of Mitt Romney. That's a kill. He went from 44-point lead to a 10-point deficit, but I got involved because I knew it wasn't true, and he won his state. It was a great victory. I don't want to tell you the senator. A lot of people know. Could have been more than one senator. Mitt Romney is kryptonite. Mitt Romney is a friend of Nikki Haley. And you saw the screen. I think you saw the screenshot. And that was actually when she was with Barack Hussein Obama. Oh, do we have good work? This was not, exactly, this was not on the screen. Congratulations, people in the back. And Obama also. She actually dropped Romney for a little while for Obama. But this is where, one thing with a politician, Henry knows this better than anybody, when they come out with an idea, they change for elections. A certain person was running and he was totally against a certain agricultural product. All of a sudden, just before the election, he came out and he said, I love it, I love it, I love it. But you know that they're going back to where they came from, right, Henry? They always come back where they came from. Her policies are horrible. Her policies on Social Security, she wants to raise the age by 10 years, okay? No, now she'll deny it, but if she ever got it, she'll never get it. She's got like zero chance. Zero chance. But you know what? If she ever did, she would go back, because they always go back to what they originally thought. But it's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. We're the only ones. That's why they are weaponizing law enforcement for the high-level purpose of election interference, which is illegal, what they're doing, too, by the way. They love to talk about democracy, but they're the ones who are weaponizing the DOJ, the FBI, our election systems, local DAs. I got DAs. If I fly over a Democrat state, if I fly over what's called the blue state in my plane, I get a subpoena the next day. Please report to a grand jury. Right, Vernon? I get a subpoena. I had more subpoenas than anybody probably in history. I think I had, between Congress and every Democrat DA, I think I had more. I always say, I said, I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone. Do you ever hear of Alphonse? A very nice gentleman, Scarface. Al Capone, the greatest of them all, the greatest mobster of them all. Trump got indicted more. Can you imagine? And it all took place within a matter of minutes. It's election interference, election. I wonder what my great father and mother, they're up in heaven. Believe it or not, my father was a tough guy, but he would make heaven because he had a great heart. And my mother, there's no doubt about it. My father is questionable, but my mother, there's no doubt. But they're both up there, and they're looking up and they're looking. She's going to say, Mary, our son is indicted more than Al Capone. How the hell did this ever happen? And it all took place within moments. But they're coming after you in many ways. They're coming after you. I'm just, I'm just stopping them. I'm stopping them. I always will. Somebody asked me the other day, a very important, a very, very successful guy asked me, they see what we have to go through with these maniacs. They're lunatics, and they see what I go through. And I say, it doesn't bother me because I have such support. It really doesn't bother me, which probably tells you there's a little bit of a screw loose there, because a lot of people would be not able to function. But it actually it inspires me. They said, if you had it to do again, you had a great life. I had the greatest life. I had the most beautiful places. I had a beautiful life. I did tremendous, had a book. It became the biggest book. Many books, but had a book, one of the biggest books ever. A thing called The Art of the Deal. Had a television show, became the top show, The Apprentice. I didn't know anything about television. I didn't know anything about books. One of the greatest real estate developers, what I do best is build. I'm a great developer. That's what I did. I made a lot of money with it. You see that when you look at my statements, which are now public for everybody to see. I did great. But they say to me, you had a great life, have great homes, Mar-a-Lago, and many others like it. Then they say, if you had it to do again, would you do it? I never hesitate. I said, absolutely, I'd do it. I would have none of this happening, because what I'm doing is necessary, and if I didn't do it, our country is gone. I believe our country would be gone. I really do. I really do. So, in a sense, I'm doing it for you, but in a sense, I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for a lot of great people, but I don't even hesitate. They asked me two questions. First is that, would you do it again? And they're always surprised when I say, absolutely. You got to go to Joe. On Monday, I have a court case. On Tuesday, it's okay. It's all right. You just say, I wish whatever state I'm supposed to be in well, and they can all see and they understand. They get the game. Look, normally when this happens, you go like that. You announce, here's what happens. You get indicted, you go to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce my retirement from politics. I will be going home to spend more time with my family and to fight for my name. That's what happens. 99.9%, right? Henry wouldn't know because he's not even close. Okay, Henry would not know that, but that's what happens. You see, we've seen it many times, Henry, right? Politicians, they always announce they're going to fight for their name and they're going to go back home to their family, which they should have been home there a long time ago, right? That's what they do with me. They indict me, I explain what it's about, total bullshit, all cases, right? And my poll numbers go up. My poll numbers go up. do you figure that? But Joe Biden and the fascists that control him are a true threat to democracy. You know, he's controlled by fascists and bad people. All of this persecution is only happening because we're leading so big in the polls. If I wasn't running right now, or if I was in 5th place, or if I was like Haley, like 70 points down, I wouldn't be under indictment. I wouldn't have any problems right now. In the latest Morning Consult poll, highly respected, we're at 80% in the Republican primary, and we're dominating Crooked Joe in the general election by numbers that nobody's ever seen before. In fact, our lead against Biden is the largest it has ever been. 6, 7, 8, 9. We have one at 11 points, which is hard. I have a friend that called me. He's not into politics. He said, could I ask you a question? How come you're only leading Biden by 8 points? I said, because if I ran this speech that I'm supposed to be using, but I decided not to. You know why? Because I feel at home with South Carolina. I'm at home. I'm at home. No, if I ran this book, if I ran that book, you start off with 39 points if you're a Democrat. I actually told my children, they're great. I have great children, smart children. They worked hard, very hard. I said, I don't want to get in your way, but it's a lot easier and a lot safer to be a Democrat. It's true. If I ran that book, nothing else, just the book, has no life, no nothing, you get 39 points. That's why it amazes me. In other words, a Democrat, between the unions, the civil service, and a few other groups, I won't mention them, but you get 39 points, right? So no matter who you are, this microphone would get 39 points. We start off with nothing. We start off with nothing. We don't have that. We have to run the whole East Coast like I did twice. I did better the second time. But we have to run the East Coast. Then we'd have to take the Midwest. Then we have to do all sorts of things. I'll never forget that incredible 2016, though, when everyone said, well, he has no chance. Remember, they gave me a 2% chance, right? Remember the poll, the number? Some genius sold his whole company to the New York Times. They paid him millions of dollars because he gave me a 2% chance. And then as you win states, you go from 2% to 4% to 10% to 14%. So I started off at 2% the evening of that fatal for the enemy, totally fatal for the enemy. So I started off at 2%, and then it comes out, Donald Trump has won the state of Florida. Oh, that's nice. So now I go from 2% chance to an 8% chance. Then we win Georgia, we win North Carolina, we win South Carolina. We win, ultimately, Pennsylvania. We ran the whole East Coast. And you remember that lunatic with the glasses? She had a lot of hair, the glasses, and she was screaming. She's become a famous woman. So we go from 2% to 6%, to 12%, to 14%. Now they're starting to get a little bit nervous. And then they said, well, North Carolina is a firewall. Donald Trump has won the state of North Carolina. They said, and we won North Carolina. Don't worry, South Carolina, we won that one easy. But they had North Carolina, your neighbor. North Carolina is a firewall. He won't be able to get through North Carolina. We won that one. And now they're starting to get worried. So now we're at a 30% chance. Then we won a couple of others. Then we won Wisconsin. That was a big one. And now we're at 40% chance. So we went from 2 to 40. And these people are going crazy. It was one of the most incredible evenings in history. They wouldn't call Pennsylvania, even though I was leading by so much with so many votes in that if I would have gotten no more votes, I would have won. I said, why aren't they calling it? They were probably trying to build up the ballot count because they thought, but ultimately it wasn't necessary. But then ultimately, late at night, I won the great state, or the great, look, Pennsylvania was a very special place. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Never call it a state. I'm glad I corrected myself. You know, if you don't correct these people, they have a field day. Even when you do correct, they'll put it in, oh, did he say state? They don't have the correction. I never correct because I hate to admit I'm wrong. It's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, David. So we win the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, great Commonwealth, where I went to school. And a lot of things happened, and that was one of the most exciting evenings anyone's ever had. We had a great time. The radical left Democrats want Nikki Haley because they know that she's easy to beat. She's very easy to beat. Haley supports a 23% national sales tax, and she wants to gut Medicare and Social Security and raise the retirement age of Social Security by 10 years. Anybody getting ready for the Social Security? Would you mind? So you're ready for next year. In 6 months, darling, in 6 months, I'm getting my Social Security. I've waited for years for this. Oh, Nikki Haley just added 10 more years. That's not going to have much of an impact, right? She just added 10 years. But she gave land away in your state. She gave land away, as you know, to China. But most importantly, I'm beating Biden in almost every poll, and she's not beating Biden. She's misrepresenting a lot of things. And on the amnesty bill, she sided with crooked Joe Biden, and I sided with the people of the United States of America. A little different. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election of 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election of 2024. We're not going to allow it. Not going to allow it. And every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. I consider it a great badge. These are very bad people. These are very crooked people, because I'm being indicted for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom, because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me, because I will never let them silence you. I never will let that happen. And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you. I just happen to be standing in the way, and I always will. So we're delighted to be joined today by a gentleman. I'd give him big place. I don't have to do too much, but we're really happy to have so many incredible political people that love your state and love our country. Governor Henry McMaster is here. Henry, thank you. And our First Lady, Peggy, thank you, Peggy. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evett is here. Thank you, Pamela. Great job. Great job. We have many members of Congress: Russell Fry, Nancy Mace, William Timmons, Joe Wilson, Mike Waltz, who you heard before, Horry County GOP Chairman Reese Boyd, done a great job. Thank you, Reese. And our 2020 Horry County Captain, Jerry McDaniel. I see Jerry back there someplace. Hi, Jerry. A man who did a fantastic job as ambassador. He really, one of the best. He really brought a lot of people together. Ambassador Ed McMullen. Thank you. A very good person, Pastor Mark Burns. Mark, stand up. Thanks. Wherever you may be. A fantastic woman, a true patriot, Laura Loomer. Laura, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. A man who's on our side. He's committed to us, and he really does get it. And politically, he's as savvy as anybody there is. David McIntosh. David, thank you very much. And the next congressman from North Carolina's 6th District. I have to go to this one because he's a friend of my son, Don. And my son says he's such an incredible guy. He suffered a terrible tragedy. His brother very recently died from an overdose of fentanyl. Unknowing, and it's been devastating to him. But the 6th District, North Carolina, Addison McDowell. He's here someplace. Addison, thank you. Thank you. We're with you. He has my complete and total endorsement, okay? So go get him. Go get him. And your brother's looking down, and he's very proud of you right now. So thank you very much. From the very first day that we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden, who I believe, and I believe this strongly, we're going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. And frankly, we have to. We have to. We have no choice because we're so far behind. We had the greatest economy in history, and now we have what's gone on. I mean, the inflation, what it's done to people, it's devastated people, 35, 40, 50%, if you think, for basic staples. We appointed over 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices. That was a big thing. We fully rebuilt the United States military and created Space Force, the first time since Air Force 78 years ago, right, Mr. Congressman? And you helped us, Mike. You helped us, Mike. That was a good speech you made, Mike. I was very proud of you. I didn't know his wife had more time than you, though, and that's pretty impressive. Stand up, please. She had more time. She's great. That's very good. We passed a thing called right to try. You know what that is? That was a big deal. They've been trying to do it for 70 years. It's not as easy as it sounds, but this is where we have the greatest doctors and lab technicians and labs in the world for medical purposes and for other purposes, too. And we have drugs and space-age things and bio that nobody in the world has, but we're not allowed to use them because the FDA said they may be dangerous. I said, wait a minute, may be dangerous. People are terminally ill. They're not going to be dangerous. These people have to take them. And I was able to work a deal and get it passed. Oh, are you? Oh, thank you. Wow, that's good. We've saved thousands of lives. Thank you very much. You're okay now. Wow. And I never met that woman in my life. I know what happens. They'll say, she was a shill. They put her in. That's great. That's great. And many, many people, thousands and thousands of people have been saved. And we gave them the right to try. We gave them the right. They were going to Asia. They were going to Europe. They were going all over the world. And if they had no money, they were just going home and dying. Most of them had no money. They go home and die. But we gave them a license. And it was very tough because the doctors didn't want it, because they didn't want it on the records. The drug companies hated the idea because they didn't want to take somebody that was very severely ill, terminally ill, and if the drug doesn't work, they're going to have to report it. So we made the insurance companies hated it, and the country hated it because the country ends up being sued all the time. So they have to sign what's called a release. And we released the country from liability. They released the drug companies from liability. And the drug companies didn't have to report when somebody is that ill. They had a separate list. And this was such a success, right to try. And thousands of people are living now who would be dead. And some are living without a problem, where they're literally healthy people. They don't even have to go back. I'm so proud of you. That's so great. Wow, that's really nice. Thank you very much. That is so nice that you do that. Thank you very much. And for our great veterans, we passed VA accountability and VA choice. Now, accountability